So when older people bought properties in Canada, uh, it used to be a guaranteed investment. However, prices kept rising, so people believed it will never fall, and many even rely on their home as their main source of wealth. So in reality, they don't have cash, but they look rich on paper because their house price is increasing like crazy every year. So this belief helped inflate the market far beyond reason. It's just like investing in a stock, in a company stock. So if you invest in this company stock at $20 per unit of a stock, and then you see the price of the stock jump to $40, you are happy because now you know that your money has done 100%. But do you know that you don't really have the 100% until you sell that stock? But there's no guarantee that you will sell the stock at 100% increase, because it could also crash to $10 per stock. So that is like what happened that is happening in the Canadian real estate market. The price goes up, comes down. People make money, people lose money. Okay, so the so that's about real estate in Canada. So in 2020, in around 2020, there was about 20 to 30% of houses were owned by investors, including real estate companies and small scale landlords. These homes are used to make money. Actually, they make money with those houses. Some are rented out, some are flipped, like bought cheap, renovated, sold for profit. Others just sit there waiting for prices to go even higher. So now, none of this is actually bad. Yeah, it's not bad. But the problem is when investors keep flipping homes without actually building new ones, prices start to take off. The supply stays the same, but demand keeps growing. Now, you think, isn't this already normal? As in most countries, people can't afford to buy houses anymore. So, what's so special about Canada? Well, even though Canada is not the only one, Canada is surely one of the worst countries when it comes to real estate investing. If we look at the graph, okay, Canadian house prices have risen fast, even beating Australia and UK and US. Houses are more expensive in Canada than in US. In fact, I've seen quite a number of people who sold their properties in Canada and went to buy bigger and more properties in US. Yeah. So Canadian housing market has become so expensive in recent time. And of course, that is Canada real estate overlook, property rental property for you. What about the cost of living? Now let's talk about the cost of living. The cost of living in Canada is crazy. Right now, people who are living in Canada's major cities, uh, let me say even rural areas, they have the same problem rather. Crazy cost of living. I have talked about rental properties, properties for sale, housing. Now this is cost of living. Okay, not only are the housing prices and rents ridiculously high, prices have gone up across the board, but wages haven't kept up. Okay, in Ontario, uh, the minimum wage used to be $17.20. In July 2025, I think, is it no, in October 2025, it will be increased to $17.60. Prior to that, prior to this change, the percentage of increment in minimum wage is far lower than the rising cost and the rising inflation. The current inflation in Canada is about 3%. Yeah, about 3%. So the rate of increase in people's salary, people's income, minimum wage does not measure up with rising cost of living. So having a full salary job doesn't even guarantee stability anymore. In fact, for many Canadians, it's not just enough to survive. According to Royal Bank of Canada's poll recently done, almost half of Canadians now spend their entire income just on basic living expenses. Nothing is left over, and many have already dipped their hands into the emergency funds, even their retirement funds, just to survive. So if people already start to put their hands to spend their emergency funds and depleting their investments just to keep up with living expense, even when they have a 9 to 5, how much more somebody without a job in Canada? That's how terrible it could be. So even household with two parents, double income, struggling to keep up financially, living paycheck to paycheck, how much more someone without a household, without a stable income? For example, in Toronto, the largest city, the most popular city in Canada, the median household income is around $97,000 a year, or let me say about $8,000 per month after taxes. So, sorry, before taxes. So after taxes, maybe around 6,500. So as of May 2025, the average rent for one bedroom apartment in Toronto is $2,000. So that leaves around 4,200 for every other thing else, like groceries, utilities, transport, insurance, and whatever every other thing that needs to be taken care of. Many surprises, unexpected bills coming up. So for two people, this is already tight, and this is because they are living modestly. And if they have a child, even just one child, the cost of childcare, milk, diapers, school, and extra food makes it not enough. That's also assuming nothing goes wrong. So this currently is informing younger Canadians of the possibility of not giving birth. So there's a poll that says that most young Canadians plan not to have children because they are scared of not being able to have enough resources to take care of their children. So that is the current poll. So like I said, that's 97,000 a year is the median income. That means half of people earn less than this, or have to spend more actually. So this explains why around 27% of Canadians are taking on debt to just cover monthly basic needs. Okay, so that's it. There's ridiculous rent, there's crazy house prices, high cost of living. These have pushed people to have fewer kids. At the same time, more Canadians are retiring than before. Okay, there are more Canadians retiring than before. So the question now is, who will work? Okay, who will work then if more people are retiring than getting into the workforce? And Canadian system is built on taxes. Okay, one of the major sources of revenue in Canada is taxes. So if more people are retiring than getting to the workforce, how will Canada sustain itself? So now that's why the number one reason why Canada relies solely on immigrants is because of the tax revenue it hopes to make from immigrants coming to Canada. So what's the problem actually? Canada is doing it way too fast. In 2023 alone, Canada added 1.2 million new people. That's almost a 3.2% increase. So if you think that is low in the same year, compared with Nigeria, one of the fastest growing populations in the world, only increased its population by 2.5%. The difference is Nigeria's growth is natural, while Canada's is almost entirely from immigration. So on paper it looks great, okay, but more people, more spending, more GDP, more tax income, right? But in real life, in reality, Canada's infrastructure is not prepared to take up that increase. Schools are overcrowded and hospitals are full of patients. So how can this happen? It's caused by government's policy mismatch actually. Okay, so there is no balance between the immigrants that is being brought in and the available infrastructure. In 2024, the Canadian government welcomed 483,000 new immigrants, while in that same year, Canada only built around 245,000 new homes. These numbers might be enough if every 2 immigrants rent or buy one house, okay? But the problem was these houses were meant for everyone, including citizens, current immigrants, and the new ones that are arriving. You get it? So, and we haven't even talked about the overstaying immigrants. Okay, from 2017 to 2024, there is an estimated nearly 750,000 people that stayed in Canada after their visas expired. So that means they are still staying in Canada illegally. Okay, so and that number is rough, unofficial estimate. So could be less, it could be more, right? So this situation means that the citizens, legal immigrants and illegal immigrants are all competing for the same homes, healthcare, and resources like food, utilities, and others to live in. In fact, currently, Food Bank is complaining that its capacity has been exceeded. It's always calling for donation every now and then because there are more people that its food capacity can handle. So even those that came illegally still don't get the life they hope for in Canada. Skilled immigrants who could be engineers, doctors, or any other specialties often end up driving Uber, Lyft, doing basic jobs, menial jobs. I'm not saying these jobs are useless. They are very, 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 very important and necessary, okay, to get life going, to keep this body together. So our society will collapse without them. Yeah. So but if these skilled immigrants can't use their talent, skills, then that's a massive waste of potential for Canada. That's what I think. So why does it happen? Because Canada still doesn't fully recognize foreign trained professional. I was a trained pharmacist in Nigeria before I came to Canada, but until I go through my 3 years or 4 years professional exam writing, I cannot practice as a pharmacist. Okay, so until then, okay, I need to get myself a job that is properly not related to my education or my skills. So these professionals like myself, like I said, we have to pass exams. Yep. So, and it's a whole lot of processes. It takes time, takes huge funds. Okay, take huge dedication. Okay, so you'll find out that most professionals that come in Canada do not practice in their profession for the first 3 or 4 years of their arrival in Canada. That is a wastage of potential and talent. So I don't want this video to be too long. That's just some of my thoughts about the state of Canada for everyone intending to come to Canada. I need you to do your own research, to get the facts ready, have a plan. If you intend to come to Canada, have a plan, have 2 or 3 plans, such that if one fails, you can switch to the other plan. Plan for the first 6 months of your coming to Canada. That's my first advice. In case you do not get a job in the first 6 months of your stay in Canada, have a plan to survive. Okay, so if one plan does not materialize, you should have another plan to sustain yourself. Okay, because the job market is not smiling. And another thing is that once you land in Canada, you start paying bills. Okay, bills does not recognize your financial capacity. From the day you start landed, from the time you get your cell phone number, you start paying phone bills. Those bills start coming in, and you got to get going. So when if you made up your mind to come to Canada, have a plan for what's going to sustain you till you get a job. And if you don't get a job in the first 6 months, you have enough to sustain you and your family. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. If you find this video informative, please do like it and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.